When Phoenix gave the pink slip to Earl Watson in October, it ended a remarkable stretch of NBA coaching stability. Before the move to replace Watson, it had been a year and a half since the league last had a coach get fired. Since then, we've already had another firing, a stunner that saw Memphis' David Fizdale take the fall. The halcyon days of coaching peace are over. While it is unclear whether any other franchises are prepared to make in-season changes, there are coaches who should be sweating out the hot seat, even here in early December. In fact, putting together a look at the relative job security of all 28 non-interim coaches in the league, there are 8 who could be said to be on the hot seat, with others behind them, warming up. More 12 coaching candidates Grizz could consider to replace Fizdale seat status hot. Frank Vogel. Magic Vogel is in the second season of a 4-year deal, and he has shown he is a pretty good NBA coach. However, he might not be the right coach for the young Magic, a team with a brand new front office still trying to figure out a direction. Any coach not hired by the team's new front office sweats each loss a little more than others. Because of his contract, which is slated to pay him $22 million total, Vogel will likely last the year. After that, a change could be in the offing for Orlando. Mike Budenholzer, Hawks. The Hawks have had a change in ownership and a change in the front office, and neither bodes well for Budenholzer. He's considered one of the best X's and O's coaches in the league, but with the franchise now headed for a long rebuild, new general manager Travis Schlenk might want to install his own coach. This season is a write-off for Atlanta, so it might make sense to keep Budenholzer around until the end of the year. Jeff Hornacek. Knicks reality has set back in on the Knicks, and that could spell trouble for Hornacek, another coach laboring under a new regime that did not hire him. The Knicks had a good start, but that was a weak and home-heavy schedule. They're 18 on the road, and that is a problem going forward. The Knicks don't play back-to-back home games until early February. If their road struggles continue in that stretch the way they've unfolded thus far, Hornacek might not last much past the All-Star break. Alvin Gentry. Pelicans. The Pelicans considered a move on Gentry last season, but a strong finish after the DeMarcus Cousins trade earned him more time. New Orleans has yet to really establish an identity, never falling more than 2 games under .500, but never going more than 2 games over either. Gentry has had tough luck with injuries since coming to New Orleans in 2015, and he'll need to get this team into the postseason in order to keep his job. A stretch of 5 road games out of 6 started Monday, and those games could decide just how hot his seat gets. LaRue. How new trade deadline impacts teams like Pelicans, Pacers. Billy Donovan. Thunder. The Thunder have not given serious consideration to firing Donovan yet, and he deserves more time before anyone panics. The team hit hopefully rock bottom, with losses to Dallas and Orlando last week, their 6th and 7th straight road losses. They responded with a 3-game winning streak and have played better since, despite an uneven offense and a poor bench. Then they dropped another one at home to the Hornets on Monday night, giving Charlotte its first road win since October 30. This Thunder team was expected to be a contender, so despite the early patience, there will be a short leash on Donovan if things don't continue to improve. Doc Rivers. Clippers. Rivers got a vote of confidence from owner Steve Ballmer, and it is unlikely that the Clippers will make a move during the season, especially with the injuries the team has had. But Rivers assembled this roster, and if things keep going as they've been going, 15 losses in their last 20 games before Monday, he will be responsible for the disappointment. Fred Hoiberg. Bulls. There is a lot to firing Hoiberg that would go beyond a simple coaching replacement. To dump Hoiberg in the first year of Chicago's rebuilding in earnest would be to admit that the franchise made a massive mistake in its treatment of Tom Thibodeau and the hiring of Hoiberg, and this is not a team that easily admits mistakes. It kept Tim Floyd around for more than 3 seasons, after all. But the team has been a mess, on and off the floor, and eventually, that falls to the head coach, Dave Joerger. Kings. Joerger had his option for $201,920 picked up in September, so the Kings entered the season thinking they would have some stability in its coaching staff, a rare commodity here. They also entered the year with the full understanding that they were not going to be particularly good. Still, the Kings don't do much right under Joerger. They're 29th in offensive efficiency and 29th in defensive efficiency, and that could cost him sooner or later. Seat status simmering. Steve Clifford. Hornets. Clifford is dealing with health issues, so even as the Hornets underachieve, his job will be safe until he comes back. Jason Kidd. Bucks. The Bucks remain in the mix for one of the top of the seeds in the East, but they're also perilously close to falling to the back of the pack. Kidd needs his team to capitalize on a soft schedule in the next few weeks. Mike Malone, Nuggets. The Paul Millsap injury hurts, and now Nikola Jokic has an ankle problem. Denver should stay in the playoff mix, and Malone should be okay as long as that remains the case. More. Will Bucks pull trigger on trade for DeAndre Jordan? Seat status warming up. Terry Stotts, Trailblazers. Stotts has done a good job with the Blazers roster, but should the team's losing streak blossom into a full-fledged freefall, with a 5-game road trip underway, that's a danger. He could find himself in some trouble. Scott Brooks, Wizards. The 47-point loss to the Jazz last week would endanger any coach, but the Wiz bounced back and could still come away with a very good road trip if they can win in Brooklyn. Dwayne Casey, Raptors. The new offense has produced some promising results, and Casey's fate is likely tied up in the Raps' postseason performance. More. Rockets rise to top of latest power rankings. Stan Van Gundy, Pistons. The Pistons' good start raised expectations, and though they've leveled off, Van Gundy can't afford to let the team slide too far. Brett Brown, Sixers. Brown was not hired by the current administration, but he has the support of his players, and he has the Sixers in a good position in the midst of the East playoff mix. Tom Thibodeau, Timberwolves. There is pressure on Thibodeau to push the franchise forward this season, and though the results have been up and down so far, he remains in good standing. Seat status comfy. Kenny Atkinson, Nets. He's got a tough job, but has gotten max effort from a depleted roster. Nate McMillan, Pacers. McMillan has changed his coaching style to suit the Pacers roster, and they've managed to overachieve. Ty Lue, Cavaliers. A 13-game winning streak cools off any coach's seat. More. Isaiah Thomas takes encouraging step in rehab. Rick Carlisle, Mavericks. Hard to imagine the Mavs pushing out Carlisle anytime soon, even as the team struggles. Luke Walton, Lakers. He was not hired to be quickly fired, but he'll need to keep showing the team can improve. Quinn Snyder, Jazz. What a great transition he made into NBA coaching. Eric Spoelstra, Heat. Spoelstra still has enough cred in the Miami organization to get him through what has been a disappointing season. Seat status. No heat whatsoever. Greg Popovich, Spurs. No worries here. Steve Kerr, Warriors. As long as he is healthy, he'll have this job. More. Jordan Bell. Well worth $3.5 million gamble for Warriors. Brad Stevens, Celtics. Some in Boston are already planning a Stevens statue, it seems. Mike D'Antoni, Rockets. D'Antoni has been fired before, but the way the Rockets are humming, he is safe for a while.